All right, so periods of sine and cosine functions. Now, period of a sine and cosine function, a period is how long until it just repeats what it's been doing. Because we know a sine and cosine function is just going to be oscillating, so it's going to be continuing with that motion forever and ever and ever in both directions. A period is that x distance until it just starts repeating again. All right? And if you think about your unit circle, how long until we just start getting out the same values for sine and cosine? How long? That is the full circle. That is going to be 2 pi until we just start getting the same sine and cosine values out again. Every 2 pi, we do the same thing over and over again. So the natural period is 2 pi for sine and cosine. The natural period is 2 pi. And we talked about period before in a previous video. One easy way is to start with one crest and find how long until we get to that identical crest. So a top crest to a top crest or a bottom crest to a bottom crest. That's one way we can calculate our period. But if we look here, we want to describe how these graphs are related. We want to find the period of g of x and sketch at least one period of both functions on the same coordinate axis. So notice this one has a 1 in front of the x, and this one, x over 3, essentially we have cosine of 1/3 x right there. Well, the 1 is the natural 2 pi. Okay? If it's a 1, it's normal, it's 2 pi. But that number in front of the x does affect the period. How does it affect the period? Well, we take the understood 2 pi and we divide it by that number in front of x. 2 pi divided by 1/3 means our new period is 6 pi. It is going to take a distance of 6 pi rather than 2 pi to start getting those same values out. So the way this affects essentially, we have a horizontal stretch. By a factor of 3. Notice, that's what's happening. Instead of 2 pi, we've stretched it out to 6 pi. This is like a horizontal stretch of 3 by a factor of 3. So the period of our original cosine of x is 2 pi. Of this new one is 6 pi. Here's good old cosine of 2 pi. Here it is. Get all those values that we know and love. Cosine of 0 is 1, cosine of pi is -1, and so on and so on and so on. And notice how the period from our x value of 0 to our x value of 2 pi, well, that is when we went from crest to crest. That is the period. Notice it's even highlighted for us in red. That's what's going to continue to repeat over and over and over again. So the period is 2 pi. So how does that affect it? Well, clearly it is going to take a whole lot longer before it gets back up to that crest. It's going to take 3 times as long. So I don't have room right here to show it. Instead, I got this graph right here. There's cosine of x in blue. Notice 0 to 2 pi, it's repeating that over and over and over again. But when we do that x over 3, that 1/3 x, it takes a full 6 pi to get back to that exact same height. Okay? Notice how that didn't affect the amplitude, it just affected the period. And if we wanted to plot these points, we could always use our calculator, type in that function, and get those outputs out. Of course, since we're working with radians, you would want to make sure your calculator's in radians.